Let me ask you something. So you're a proud Muslim. You're very, very proud of your faith.
Absolutely.
And you're also unapologetically pro-Israel.
So there's this clip of Candace Owens back, I believe, about 5 years ago. I'm not sure the exact time, but before she became an anti-Semite, there was a clip. Currently a clip on social media circulating of her with interviewing a Muslim who's actually pro-Israel, a Zionist Muslim, and she was basically asking him why he supports Israel, and she was actually defending his case, saying that everyone's blaming on Israel no matter what. As she quotes, if it doesn't rain for 3 days, people would always blame Israel. And it's funny to see that she's actually defending Israel. And it only makes you think, what changed her mind? Was it money? Was it influence? Was it, people around her that changed her mind, that made her go into full anti-Semite mode? It's anything could happen, but it's just an interesting clip. Let's watch it.
Let me ask you something. So you're a proud Muslim. You're very, very proud of your faith.
Absolutely.
And you're also unapologetically pro-Israel.
Absolutely.
And some people go, whoa, how does that happen? Because we see usually the narrative, especially when you're talking about the Middle East, it seems that all of the blame, they always want to blame Israel, no matter what. The strangest things, anything could happen. It could not rain for 3 days, and it's curse Israel, the Israel state, the IDF. They've brought about all of this. Where does that stem from? And how have you been able to separate yourself from that narrative? And I say narrative because you've been clear that this is not the way actually the majority of Muslims in the West feel, but because we have people that are in power that are using their voice to put this narrative out there, it's become worse and it's become uglier.
So the core of what I'm doing at the American Islamic Forum since we formed in 2003 is to speak truth to power. And the power in our community are the Islamists' establishment, those who believe that we should somehow believe in their interpretation of Islam and their attempt to attack free speech, to attack women's rights, individual rights, ability to criticize them. So top on the list of their power structure is their anti-Semitism, their demonization of the other. And they're, as always with the Jewish community, end up being scapegoats. And if you look globally, the Islamists will use the Jewish community to create and well up, if you will, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic fervor in our community. And Israel is a constant target of that. Now, there's a term I refuse to use, which is Islamophobia, which is a term that the Islamists concocted to prevent criticism of Islam. And when in fact, yes, there might be some bigotry that exists against Muslims, and we can talk about that if you want, but the bottom line is they concocted the term Islamophobia to try to prevent criticism of Islam. And yet, they suffer from what I think the Islamists do of Israelophobia, which is...
Never hear that term.
Absolutely. And that's a term really that they should talk about, which is they say, oh, we love Jews, but yet we don't like Israel. And yet BDS is not just a movement of an opinion. BDS is actually a movement to economically destroy the entire state of Israel. So I will tell you, I've testified to Congress a couple times on anti-Semitism. I think anti-Semitism globally is driven by most of the Muslim majority governments and their idea. I don't think you can defeat political Islam without first defeating its anti-Semitism.
Okay.
Because it is as we talk about disease, it is a pathognomonic. In medicine, we talk about pathognomonic signs, which is a key clinical sign. Anti-Semitism is a key clinical sign of Islamists and its intolerance. You see it in the women's movement's leaders of Linda Sarsour and Zahra Balloo and others that were kicked out because, they're so anti-Semitic. How did they not note that?
That it's actually in Islamic text, like in the Quran, that it is vaguely anti-Semitic. Is there anything about Jewish people in the Quran?
Absolutely. My book, A Battle for the Soul of Islam, has a whole chapter about the reinterpretation of passages that if you look at the Saudi primary, the dominant interpretation, the most common passage I say as a Muslim 17 times a day is the opening Fatiha, the opening prayer of the Quran. We say it 17 times a day in our 5 prayers. The Saudi interpretation, that's to the hundreds of millions of books around the world, takes that and says, where we say, follow the path of God, not those who've gone astray, etc., etc., the Saudis put in parentheses, not those who've gone astray. Then they put in parentheses, they add, like the Jews.
Okay.
And then in chapter 5, there's in chapter 5 a number of passages that talk about battles against Banu Qurayza and other Jewish tribes. So what do we do with that? We have to embrace a modern interpretation that says, you know what, that might have applied to the 7th century or a battle happening at that time in 623 CE, but it doesn't apply anymore.
Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more videos like this, please go to buymeacoffee.com/Jewish Uncensored to support our work. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.